welcome to today's daily video. I am Allysia, as you already know. Why am I introducing myself like I'm about to be a news anchor? So I just came out of the long weekend. So in Canada we had our Thanksgiving and it was also my birthday. So I just wanted to record a video about something that was the subject of my Zoom birthday party conversation. So at the end of my Zoom birthday party, which was very fun, by the way. A good way to catch up with friends when you can't catch up with them in person because of social distancing. Social distancing, say that 10 times fast. We ended up getting into this big, like, 6-way rock, paper, scissors battle, which, by the way, is kind of challenging to do on Zoom when you're factoring in lag. But the winner of the rock, paper, scissors battle was able to subject all of the losers to their guilty pleasure. So, for example, one of my friend's guilty pleasures was Selling Sunset, watching the show Selling Sunset. So that was on the table. It's like if he wins, then we all have to watch Selling Sunset. My guilty pleasure, which is going to be the subject of today's video, is manga and reading manga, which I haven't. This is more of like a childhood, like teenager kind of thing for me, but I really dream of the day when I can have like a wall of books that is nothing but manga. So I wanted to talk about that because I feel like manga can get a bad rap. Not all of them are great, and a lot of people watch anime and equate that with manga, and I find that the two worlds are very different. So I'm not a huge fan of anime. I find that even the original Japanese versions, not even like the Americanized translated versions, tend to be very this isn't true in all cases, but in a lot of cases it seems to be a lot more focused on like action and like everything's really loud and flashy. And it's not as focused on the art, but I really like manga because you get a story and you get art at the same time. And some manga artists are just like amazing. Like it's beautiful pages. So not only do you get the benefit of like an interesting storyline if it's a good series, but you also get beautiful artwork. And sometimes the artwork isn't beautiful, it's just fun. So my favorite manga series of all time, again, not true of the anime, but true of the manga, is Ranma Half. I always used to just call it Ranma. There's like a little half. I don't even know how to like properly say the title. But if you are to do nothing but read one manga series in your entire life, and you can access it for free online if you're that kind of person, because there's a lot. There's like 36 books of them. But Ranma is like just classic comedy, like late 80s, early 90s. I'm pretty sure it ran through the 80s and 90s. But Rumiko Takahashi, some of you might know her better for her series Inuyasha, which is also very good. Lots of action, very simple. So Ranma and Inuyasha are kind of like, they're not episodic in the sense where there's like a really thick continuous plot where you have to read each one sequentially. You can kind of just pick them up in the middle and you get a good story. But Ranma is essentially like martial arts comedy, where there's a guy who he's like a martial artist and he's kind of like naive to the ways of the world, but he's like super handsome and he has all these fiancés that he doesn't know what to do with. But it's martial arts comedy. So when he is splashed with cold water, he inexplicably turns into a girl because of a curse from a like Chinese spring that he fell into. And there are other characters who turn into things too. So his dad turns into a panda, and then you have like Shampoo who turns into a cat. There's a guy who turns into a pig. Ryoko is like super ashamed of being a pig. And and it's just like shenanigans ensue. There's lots of action. There's lots of like romance, where you're just like rooting for the main characters to finally hook up, but it's like 36 books of them not hooking up, basically. Am I giving you spoilers? Anyway, it's great. It's a really good time. I love that series, just like classic comedy. Inuyasha is really good too. So I think a lot of people are more familiar with that series, but that's Rumiko Takahashi. I've read some of the other, Meizani Koku is a really good series. I think it was one of her like earlier ones. It's a little bit more adult, like a guy who falls in love with his landlord, basically, like in his apartment. But there are other artists. So Ranma isn't so much about the art, but Clamp's series is all about the art. And the pages are beautiful. So Clamp is probably most famous for Cardcaptor Sakura, or as you guys might know, if you ever watched like anime, Cardcaptors. When I was a kid, I bought the VHS tapes of Cardcaptors. I was like so hooked on it when I was a 14-year-old. But Clamp also does X 1999. They have a series called Chobits about like female robots, and you can probably imagine where that kind of goes. They have a lot of like, so X 1999 is kind of apocalyptic. So their storytelling is kind of all over the place from one series to the next. I really like, why isn't it coming to me? There's a really cute, like, they do some really cute kid series and also some more like adult ones, but the like Clamp's main artist is just like, so beautiful. Those are such beautiful books. Even Cardcaptor Sakura is just like, it's absolutely gorgeous. The way it's illustrated. Now, if we're going into something a little heavier, in terms of subject matter, there are two much more adult, they're very gory, they're very violent series that are stunning, just absolutely stunning. So Battle Angel Elita, there was a movie on it. I was not a fan of it. I was super disappointed by it. They kind of cartoonified Elita. Where the original series in which it's from is really dark, really violent, really depressing, but just totally beautiful. So you're looking at these pages of like, people getting murdered, and it's like really awful and gruesome, but it's also like, holy crap, this is like amazing. This is like beautiful art. And it's an older series too. Another dark series that this is maybe the exception to my anime is never better than the manga, is Akira. Because Akira is a movie that kind of transformed. It was sort of like the gateway to before Akira, there was basically just like, what was that, like Astro Boy or whatever, in terms of like Japanese anime series making it over to America. So it was kind of like a serious movie that kind of paved the way for anime to become more popular in North America. Really, really, really screwed up, really dark. But the comic series, there's like 6 really thick books that are like kind of hard to read and hard to follow, and the art's like kind of mediocre. I'm sorry if that offends anyone, but the movie is shorter, snappier, it's like 2 hours. Still beautiful and just like really, really messed up. So that's a great series, or at least the movie. Another manga series that I love the artwork of, and again, it's very violent, is, oh my goodness, the Samurai one. Oh, why is it Blade of the Immortal? There we go. Basically about a guy who has a curse where he's immortal until he kills like 1,000 bad guys, essentially. He was like he was given this curse because he was like just a terrible human being, basically. So no matter what happens, he cannot be killed. It's just basically his like revenge, like quest through feudal Japan, taking down bad guys, and it's really gruesome, really, really gorgeous art. Probably one of my favorites. And then you have I don't want to call them trashy, but kind of like the more like shoujo manga. So you have Fushigi Yugi. I read the entire series. It's like a soap opera. It's very lovely. It's very, very dramatic. And then like Peach Girl is kind of the same. It's just like total soap opera. I'm trying to think. Now, I loved manga so much. I just have to like put this in a little bit more context to you guys, to really give you the backstory of why I want like walls full of these. But when I was a kid, my parents let me paint my bedroom, and I didn't just like paint the walls one color. I like painted manga pictures on the walls. So like my entire room was just like murals. So I had like Ranma, I had Peach Girl, I had Cardcaptor Sakura. I don't even remember what else I had. There was like, I don't know, 6 or 7 different like series. And that was a huge project. Really, really fun, by the way. If your parents give you free reign to, it kind of makes me think like in the future, would I just totally go all like art style? Like if I had my own office, would I just do a mural on the wall? And I feel like that would be great if you own your own home. Because when my parents sold that home, the people who moved in actually ended up keeping the murals on the wall and used it as their kids' room. So I thought that was very sweet and endearing. So I'm trying to think if there's any other, like there's a lot of newer series that I haven't kept up with just because I haven't been keeping up with like manga in the last decade or so. that people talk about. So I'm always open to recommendations. Oh, I can't believe I almost forgot to say my absolute favorite one though. So Aizawa is my favorite manga writer and artist of all time. She is amazing. There's 2 series that she's done that just totally blow my mind. Not only because of the art, but it's more of a adult content, but it's like real human drama. So where Blade of the Immortal is like this total fantasy storyline, Paradise Kiss is about a girl who falls into the fashion industry sort of by accident, and she falls in with these like weird art kids who are like doing these crazy fashion lifestyle things. It's kind of like real life, but the writing is really really immaculate. So the characters are really well developed and nuanced. And I find this to be especially true with my favorite series of all time, which is Nana, which is essentially like 2 girls named Nana. One of them is trying to be like a famous rock artist, basically. So it's all about music and rock and roll. It's pretty heavy and dark at times, very much like punk rock in Japan. Really cool series. Really cool series. But Paradise Kiss is short. I think there's only 4 books in that entire series. So that's like a great gateway into Aizawa. I could read those, and I have read those like over and over and over. I absolutely love them. So anyways, if you have any recommendations for me, like if you're into manga or anything like that, I really like, especially now that I'm a little older, I really like the real world kind of stuff. Where there's nuanced characters and interesting storylines that aren't like so soap opera-ish or fantasy based. So I'm not like super into like, you know, the silly shoujo type manga that I used to read. But I do also love comedy. So if there's a series that you guys really like that's really funny, then I'm all over that too. So please let me know. I don't know if any of you are into this, but let me know in the comments if you are, and if you have any recommendations, because pretty much every book that I read is a recommendation from someone else. So let me know. Or maybe I'm just an island and in this like manga universe all by my lonesome. I don't think that's true, but hopefully some of you guys have some good recommends. Anyway, I'll catch you tomorrow. Bye guys.